ダメ、暑い。風に当たってくる。
本当は分かってたけど。本能が一瞬で爆発した。大学1年合コン帰りの夜明け前。
Juntang is an ugly virgin loser who finds himself in a situation where he has to choose among 3 hot waifus as they all want to get clapped by him.
Yeah, boy.
However, before any of this, Juntang was totally caught slipping when Liia slammed him against the wall, reminding him of her warning. If he's not into her, he should keep his distance. Then she surprises him by planting a kiss on his lips. Instead of pushing her away, Juntang freezes. Liia lets him go, shrugs, and gets back to work, saying his lack of reaction gives her hope. They continue their stroll to the stores with Juntang staring at her, lost in thought. He can't believe he's met someone like her in his early 20s. His mind wanders back to the day they first met. He was on a bus heading to his apartment when his friend Ju texted him to meet up. Ju had finished the paperwork and it had been ages since they'd last seen each other. Juntang got stoked, realizing Liia was the reason he'd applied to that university in the first place.
行かない方がいい？
来てください。ごちそうします。
He jumped off the bus, rushed home, and changed into fresh clothes. As he walked out, he noticed a waifu in a red top fiddling with her lighter by the gate. He wondered who she was since she looked familiar, so he approached her and asked if they'd met before. She ignored him and he continued on his way, thinking maybe they'd been in the same tutorial classes. Juntang's walk comes to an abrupt halt as he suddenly remembers that the girl in front of him is none other than Shia, a member of the popular idol group Dream Suite.
Dream Suite.
He asks her if he's right and she confirms it with a grin like a mischievous anime villain, waving her lighter in his face. Juntang's shock is palpable and Shia can't help but burst out laughing, teasing him for being too slow to dodge. He threatens to call the cops on her for the stunt, but she fires back, accusing him of stalking her when all she wants is a normal life. Juntang apologizes and just then he receives a message from Ju.
すみません、約束があって。
After a sick dinner and some quality bro time, Juntang heads back home only to find Shia still lurking by the gate, looking like a lost puppy. He wonders if she's been waiting there all morning. Shia warns him not to spill the beans about her living there or she'll kick his butt.
その頭、かち割ってやる。
As she saunters through the gate, she suddenly collapses.
Oh no!
Juntang rushes to her side and calls for an ambulance. The next morning, he wakes up to the sound of the doorbell, and to his surprise, it's Shia standing on the other side, breakfast in hand and a smile on her face. She wants to share a meal with him. Juntang tries to brush Shia off by claiming he's already eaten and quickly closes the door. After classes, he texts Ju to ask when they're meeting up, but she blows him off, saying she forgot her scarf and is too busy to hang out. Juntang rolls his eyes and heads home, thinking he dodged Shia's clinginess all day. But nope, she's waiting for him like a Fortnite camper, asking about his day like she's his mom or something. From then on, he gives her the cold shoulder, ignoring her greetings, dinner invites, welcome backs, and even her questions about the festivals. One day, on his way to school, he's surprised to find that she doesn't even try to talk to him. However, during class, his mind starts to wander and he's thinking about meeting up with Ju instead of dealing with his stalker. That's when he overhears people chatting and looks up to see Shia asking about him. When she spots him, she calls out his name and struts over to him.
お前マジかよ。
どこ見てんの？
Juntang grabs her hand and makes a quick exit, leaving the rest of the class stunned by her beauty. Juntang and Shia are lurking in the hallway, and he's gotta let her down with a gentle roast, telling her he's already got someone special in his heart, the person who saved his life. Shia bursts out laughing and clarifies that she just wants to be friends with him since they live close by and he helped her out. Juntang agrees to exchange numbers and they make plans to grab dinner sometime. As they walk together, Shia mentions that she's glad he's already taken, so there won't be any misunderstanding. Later, Juntang meets up with his friends for a night of drinking. One of the guys starts fishing for info about Shia, complimenting her looks, but Juntang stays tight-lipped. The guy tries to butter him up with more beer, but Juntang's not having it. Just then, his phone rings and he steps outside to answer Shia's call. She's interested in crashing their party, but Juntang suggests she attend her own school's bash instead.
もしもし。
よう、そっちは賑やかね。
頭かち割りさん。
Shia reveals that she's been suspended and doesn't have any friends, which makes Juntang feel a pang of sympathy. Before he can respond, the nosy guy snatches the phone from his hand. Shia hears Juntang struggling to get it back and decides to show up at the bar. She finds Juntang outside, helping the guy puke his guts out. Juntang's confused. What's she doing here and why is she carrying a bottle? Shia explains that she thought he was in a fight and came to his rescue. The guy tries to hit on her, but Shia shuts him down with a few choice words and starts dragging Juntang away. The guy tries to stop them, saying they need to have a chat before they leave. Shia whips out her trusty weapon, ready to take him on.
私が自分を心配してると？
After dodging the drunk guy, Juntang grabs Shia's hand and makes a quick escape. As they flee, he lectures her about how she could have gotten in trouble if the cops had seen her wielding a beer bottle. Shia breaks down in tears, confessing that she's been trying to change and stop getting into trouble.
外に出たらやらかしちゃうから。
Juntang starts to suspect that she might have an anxiety disorder that triggers her violent outbursts. He wonders how she tracked him down, and Shia points to the back-to-school banners. As they stroll through the campus, they're surrounded by banners everywhere. Suddenly, Juntang takes off running, thinking Ju might be nearby. Shia chases after him until he finally spots Ju. He calls out her name, and she waves back at him. But things take a turn for the worse when Ju asks if the girl behind him is Shia.
ミオだ。キャラメルって曲歌ってた。
まずい。
ああ、はいはい、あの子。なんでここに？引退したんだよな。
And the whole crew starts gossiping like a Reddit thread about her troubled past and why she dipped out of the idol group. Ju innocently asks if they were fighting over a dude, and Shia loses her marbles, unleashing a string of sick burns at Ju before storming off, looking like she just got trolled on Twitter. Juntang and Ju head to the bus stop only to find that the last bus has already taken off and the cabs are ignoring them. Ju tries to call her friends to crash at their places, but no one's picking up. So they decide to make amends with Shia by buying some drinks and showing up at her doorstep. They ask her to call Ju's mom and pretend to be her friend, and Shia agrees.
両親が厳しくて、もし家に帰らなかったらこっぴどく叱られるんです。なので、私の友達のふりしてかけてくれませんか?
After the call, the two of them are about to leave when Shia calls them back in, offering an extra blanket. They end up getting drunk together, apologizing to each other, and letting loose.
大好き。仲直りしよう。私も大好き。
Then, Shia takes off her top and walks outside, and Juntang follows, worried she might get cold and pass out again. As he's low-key checking her out, he realizes he's got feelings for her, and it's not just about being friends. They hold hands while Ju's still inside, sipping on a drink, totally clueless about the moment they're sharing.
ただの友達でいいと思ってた。
The next morning, Juntang wakes up feeling like trash and stumbles to the restroom to vomit up last night's drinks. He asks Shia about Ju, and she tells him she caught the first bus home. They spend the morning cleaning up the house, and Juntang helps Shia take out the trash, including a pack of cigarettes. He asks if they're hers, and she quickly flushes them down the toilet. As she starts to get close to him, he makes a quick excuse, saying he needs to take out the rest of the trash.
ゴミ捨ててくる。
A month later, Juntang was waiting for Shia after school, looking like a total stan. The other students were low-key roasting him, asking where his girlfriend was hiding. Just then, Shia showed up with Ju, and Juntang's face went from confused to what's good though. Shia just shrugged it off, saying she was keeping Ju company. Ju then suggests they check out the cherry blossoms that have started to bloom on campus. Under the cherry blossoms, they're having a blast, snapping photos and goofing off.
先輩がいてよかった。じゃなきゃ誰と遊ぶんだ。
私とミオがいてよかった。よう一人じゃお花見寂しいもんね。
But then, Ju suddenly remembers the looming midterm exams and starts to stress. They walk her to the bus stop and Juntang suggests studying together at the library, but Ju politely declines. Shia says her goodbyes and when she turns to leave, she finds Juntang walking away. She catches up to him and shows him a photo she took of Ju and him, asking if he knows why Ju always seems to brush him off. Juntang shrugs, admitting that he knows Ju's just not into him.
先輩は俺と付き合う気ないんだ。
As they stroll home, Juntang starts to reflect on all the times he tried to hang out with Ju one-on-one, only to have her come up with some excuse or another. He realizes Ju only hangs with him when Shia's around, and he's just a pawn in her social game. Meanwhile, Shia sends the pics to Ju, who promptly deletes the one with Juntang, because let's be real, she's just not that into him. As Juntang walks out of the gate, he runs into his friend Yunza, who invites him to hang out since he's flying solo.
あ、よ。彼女いないよな。サークルの合コンに来ないか？
But before he can respond, Shia bursts into his room, insisting on helping him get ready. She's determined to make him look hot, and she's not about to let him go on a date. The girls in the room are over the guys, and Yunza is literally shaking with excitement. When Juntang finally arrives, apologizing for being late, the girls go wild, gushing over how cute he is. Then Yunza pipes up, telling Juntang to sing as punishment for being late. A redhead in the crowd can't take her eyes off him, declaring that he's her type because he's got style and can sing.
おしゃれで歌もうまい顔も私の好きなタイプ
When the song ends, the girls give him a standing ovation and the redhead is still simping hard. Juntang finds an earring on the floor and returns it to the redhead, who starts talking to him about her piercing. Meanwhile, Shia takes off her own earring, complaining that it's infecting her ears. Yunza and another girl burst into Juntang's conversation, excitedly announcing a game of wedlock and wine. Meanwhile, Shia felt like a total loner, stuck in her bed as the game got underway.
一人だけって退屈すぎる
The group took turns spinning the bottle, pairing up and laughing together. When it was Nini's turn, the redhead sitting next to Juntang, the others warned her that whoever the bottle landed on would have to do a level 4 dare. Nini gave the bottle a spin and it landed on her. With a grin that said, "I'm about to get weird," she started making moves on Juntang like a thirsty Tinder date.
彼女の顔、なんで俺より赤い？
But just as things were getting lit, the squad chimed in, reminding her that this was a drinking game. They handed her a drink and Nini continued her approach, but Juntang just sat there, staring at her with an unreadable expression.
でも彼女緊張しすぎだ。俺も釣られて。本当にいいのか？
When Ronnie turns her head at the last second, avoiding the kiss, the others tease her to drink up and get her mojo back. She takes a swig, and with newfound confidence, she makes her move on Juntang again. But just as they're about to smooch, he slaps his hand over her mouth like a total dweeb and confesses to his buddies that he's a kissing virgin.
それが実は俺キスしたことなくて。
They all lose it, laughing and pointing, and as punishment, they hand him a mic and tell him to go serenade the next room, which he reluctantly does. Later, they all file out of the building and Ronnie announces she's heading home. Juntang offers to walk her out, and as they stroll, she asks him about his kissing virginity. They start chatting about his crushes, and he asks her about hers. She opens up about her ex, who dumped her when he had to repeat high school.
付き合ったことは
中学の時好きな人が告白しなかったし。
Suddenly, Juntang gently parts her hair, wondering if she's tearing up. He can't help but wonder if Shia's hair is just as soft. As he lets go of her hair, Juntang suggests they keep the night going. He walks Ronnie to her building and she reminds him to text her when he gets home. Juntang pulls out his phone to send her a quick update, but he notices a message from Shia wishing him a good time. He tries to send her a voice note, but his phone dies on him.
God damn it. every time.
He dashes back to his apartment, and that's when he finds Shia waiting outside. She asks if he had a blast, and he fills her in on the wild game they played. She spots the lipstick stain and raises an eyebrow, so he explains the whole story. Shia teases him, saying he always ends up doing things even when he doesn't want to, which makes her want to get a little mischievous with him. Then she leans in close and plants a kiss on him. Juntang knows exactly what's coming, so he just lets it happen. But he can't help himself. He grabs her and pulls her in tighter, deepening the kiss. After that sloppy yet majestic kiss, Juntang and Shia hightailed it back to their respective cribs, still reeling from the unexpected smooch fest. The next morning, Juntang woke up still trying to wrap his head around the fact that he'd actually locked lips with a girl, and it was Shia of all people.
なわけない。嘘だ。夢に決まってる。目を閉じて開けば。
He gets ready for school, his mind still stuck on her. As he walks to school, he notices a note on the gate saying Shia's renting out a room. He can't help but wonder what's going on. At the library, he tries to focus on his studies, but his mind keeps drifting back to Shia. Even in the exam room, he finds himself getting distracted. After school, he heads back home and knocks on her door. When she answers, he asks about the room rental and confesses that he can't stop thinking about her.
張り紙見てからずっと気になって。それと昨日のこと話したくて。
She invites him in, and as she closes the door, he tells her they need to talk about what went down the previous night. But Shia catches him off guard by asking, "What now? That we kissed?" Juntang's jaw drops, and he literally falls to the ground, surprised. He admits he wasn't expecting that. Shia helps him up and onto the couch, asking if it was his first kiss, which sends him tumbling back down to the floor.
ねえ、もしかしてあれ初めてとか？大丈夫？
Once he's settled, she brings him a drink and asks about the kiss again. He asks her about the rent sign, and she explains she wants to make more friends since it's just her and Ju around. Juntang offers to take her and Ju to Karaoke after exams, trying to make up for his awkwardness. She agrees to the plan, and then she gets cozy, asking if she can hold his hand.
ねえ、手握ってもいい？
ああ。
Subscribe to the channel.
Juntang's down with it, and she snuggles up closer, resting her head on his shoulder and dozing off. He can't help but notice how close she is, but he doesn't mind. The next day, while studying for his exam in the library, Juntang's mind starts to wander back to the kiss. He tries to shake off the memory, but he forgets he's in the library and almost gets caught. After finishing his paper, he meets up with Ju outside and fills her in on the plan. As they walk to the reading room, they chat about nothing in particular. Juntang's stoked to be sharing a coffee with her, even if their seats are pretty far apart. But things take a weird turn when another student recognizes Ju and comes over to chat. They're laughing and joking, and the guy even touches her cheeks, making Juntang feel a pang of jealousy. Ju invites the guy to lunch, and when he asks about her boyfriend, she clarifies that Juntang's just a good friend. She asks Juntang if he's cool with it, but he's already walking away, feeling pretty uneasy about the whole scene. She calls out to him, but he keeps going, thinking it's weird to see Ju laughing with another guy. He plops down on the couch, feeling a little betrayed, but then he remembers that he's been holding hands with Shia, flirting with her and kissing her, and he never told Ju about any of it. He recalls Shia saying that being around him makes her happy, and suddenly his feelings of jealousy start to fade away.
よう、ありがとう。ようといられて、すごく嬉しい。
Roni's still stuck on her ex, and Juntang's had enough. He decides it's time for a fresh start, and that means getting his own apartment far from campus. He flashes back to 2 years ago when he and Ju were attending tuition classes together. One day, he walked her home, and just as she was about to grab some books from her house, her dad pounced on her, scolding her for bringing a boy home and being a total disappointment.
男と外でヘラヘラして、それでもうちの娘か。まったくお前は母親そっくり。
just like her mom. He even said he should have been tougher on her. Ju lost it, telling her dad that the real shame was being born into his family. She chucked her bag at him, grabbed Juntang's hand, and they made a run for it. When they finally stopped to catch their breath, Ju burst out laughing. Sitting alone in the lounge, Juntang tells himself that this is all new territory for him. He remembers how Ju interacted with that other guy, and it hits him that she's still the same person he used to wish he could make his.
いつも可愛くて優秀で穏やかで
Just then, Ju walks in looking like a snack and tells Juntang to roll with her, saying she's got a surprise. They head up the stairs and Juntang asks where they're off to. The rooftop, she replies with a sly grin. As she opens the door, Juntang's jaw drops. The view is breathtaking. Ju starts giving Juntang a tour of the rooftop, then opens up about her drama with her dad.
前はもっと勇気があったのに。家出してみたり、お父さんにも反抗できた。
But just as suddenly, she's like, time to go. As she heads for the door, Juntang asks why she brought him up there, but she doesn't give him an answer. He tells her to wait up, but she keeps moving. Ju walks out, feeling a little happy that she caught Juntang getting jealous over that other guy earlier. She's got feelings for Juntang, but circumstances are making it tough for her to express them. Juntang exits the rooftop, wondering what's going on with Ju. She seemed fine just a minute ago.
さっきまでは元気だったのによくわからない何が言いたかったんだ
Meanwhile, as Ju walks to the bus stop, she's hoping Juntang feels the same way about her. The next day, Shia bursts into Juntang's room, excitedly reminding him that exams are over and it's time to get up. Juntang's not having it, so Shia pulls off the covers, saying it's already afternoon and people sleep at night, not during the day. Just then, the doorbell rings and Shia goes to answer it. Juntang hears a girl's voice and realizes she must be the new roommate.
こんにちは。今日引っ越すって前に連絡を。ああ、どうぞ。忘れてた。
Shia calls out for Juntang's help with the moving, so he gets up.
なんでここに
When he sees Roni and she recognizes him, they both freak out, asking each other what they're doing there. Roni's eyes narrow into a death stare fixed on Juntang like he's the human embodiment of a participation trophy, and she's thinking, if I'd known he was the upstairs tenant, I would have never agreed to this. She grabs her box and walks away from him, leaving him wondering what he did wrong. Meanwhile, he is stuck in regret mode, realizing he spaced out on texting her when he got home, too busy binge-watching Netflix and eating Cheetos. Now he's stuck, watching her giggle with Shia, praying that last night's shenanigans don't come up in conversation.
さやじゃない、サラ。
終わった
He quickly grabs the bags and helps them set up inside the house. After they're done, he sits outside on the grass, wondering why Roni's being so cold to him when she's being super nice to everyone else. Meanwhile, the girls are trying to figure out what to eat. Juntang gets an idea, walks over to them, and suggests they all go to this awesome restaurant he knows. Roni agrees and they're all set.
ご機嫌取ろうって魂胆。
Juntang is so extra at the restaurant, he's literally wasted. Shia dips out, steps outside, and starts playing with her lighter, low-key, judging Juntang's life choices.
だから私。
もう無理もう無理
Then, she overhears him and Roni talking about their first meeting, and Juntang's just spilling tea left and right, making Roni blush like crazy. She thinks he's talking about her.
何度も思い出す目の前にいなくても
私がいない時もずっと。
Then he passes out on her, and Shia walks over, wakes him up, and takes him home, refusing Roni's offer to help. They crash on the same bed in his room, and Shia leans in for a kiss. They start talking about making things official, but Juntang's already dozing off, his mind still stuck on Ju and wondering why she took him to the rooftop that day.
ただなんで屋上に連れてったんだろう
Juntang tries to sneak out of the house like a total noob, but Shia's all like, bruh, I'm awake, no need to be stealthy. They stroll out together and Roni's just standing there, mouth agape, and drops the bottles she's holding. They help her pick them up while Shia makes it seem like they did way more than just sleep on the same bed.
何よ、本当に一緒に寝たじゃん。
だからつまり
Juntang starts searching for Shia on social media and even calls his buddy Guju, a huge fan of Shia, asking if he's still obsessed with her, saying she eats with him every day. Guju doesn't believe him, calls him a traitor and a bunch of other names, and then hangs up on him. Juntang discovers that Shia quit showbiz and was getting violent with reporters, and he finds paparazzi pics of her online.
ファン同士の言い争い、バラエティも無理だからパパラッチの盗撮。
Looking at her now, he realizes she's changed a lot. As they chill on the couch, the gate bell rings. He gets up to check and sees his friend Guju at the gate. Thinking about how Guju will freak out when he sees Shia, Juntang quickly grabs the food Guju's mom sent over and locks the gate, not letting him in. Guju gets all worked up and walks away.
ねえよ、それ何？
女の声彼女
But then he jumps over the fence when he hears a girl's voice, planning to snap a pic to send to the parents' group chat. However, he drops his phone when he sees Shia standing there. Guju bursts into Juntang's house, demanding to take a picture.
出てって。
Shia promptly shows him the door and he's forced to leave. The next morning, Juntang wakes up to find Guju lurking in his room. He chases him out, but Guju keeps coming back, hoping to catch a glimpse of Shia. One day, he shows up with tuna fish, which Juntang promptly rejects. As Guju is leaving, he spots Shia walking out of the house and tries to give her the tuna fish. She's not having it though, and tosses it to the ground, telling him she didn't ask for it. Guju starts yelling at her, and Juntang intervenes only to get yelled at too. Guju grabs him by the neck and Juntang fires back, telling him what a disappointment he is to his parents.
もなってどんだけガキなんだよ。おばさんも悲しむぞ。小一、大人になれ。
It gets physical and Guju storms out, ending their bromance on the spot. After the drama dies down, Juntang notices Shia's hand is still shaking, so he suggests they sit down for a bit. Once she's calmed down, she invites him to the cultural festival and he agrees despite having prior plans with Ju. Speaking of Ju, he texts Juntang, reminding him to bring a jacket. It's Cultural Fest Day and Juntang is low-key freaking out waiting for Shia to arrive. But when she finally shows up, she's serving looks and everyone's losing their minds.
うわすっげえ美人いるわ芸能人じゃねやば誰あれ
As she approaches him, he quickly throws a cape over her head to deflect some of the attention and hands her his top to wear. They spend the day playing games, taking silly photos with other festival goers, and even dressing up in animal costumes. When it's time for Shia to return the clothes, she ducks into a booth to change while Juntang waits outside. That's when Rooni rolls up, looking all sorts of salty since she's running the booth. Her jaw hits the floor when Shia emerges hand in hand with Juntang, and they stroll off into the sunset like the ultimate power couple. Juntang and Shia are low-key goals, walking around the festival, all cute and stuff. Everyone's eyes are on them and Juntang's eating it up, feeling like the main character of the whole event. They stop to vibe and he's all about throwing a shade at Shia for clowning him earlier. Meanwhile, Ju observes them from a distance, watching as they crack each other up. She can't help but think back to Juntang's text, where he bailed on their plans to hang out with Shia instead.
先輩は何を考えてるんだろう。
Ju's still waiting for him to return the favor. As they're walking, they hear the sound of people singing on a stage. Shia's immediately drawn to it, but Juntang tries to convince her it's getting late. Shia's not having it though, and insists on checking out the concert. He relents, grabbing her hand and leading her to the crowd. Just as they arrive, the performing group wraps up and the host takes the stage, announcing that anyone who wants to express their love to their crush through song or dance can do so and win a coupon. Juntang starts teasing Shia about how it would feel to declare her love on stage, but she's not listening. Instead, she takes off, leaving him calling out her name as he chases after her. She stops suddenly, wondering if she's lost her mind, but doesn't turn back to him. Then, she makes a bold move, striding onto the stage. The host praises her for being the first to take the leap, and Shia introduces herself as the idol she is. The audience starts murmuring, recognizing her as Liia from Dream Suite. When asked if she's there with a guy and if she's going to confess her feelings, Shia freezes up, microphone in hand. That's when Ju jumps onto the stage, takes the mic and starts talking, asking if it's okay for Shia to be up there. The host gives the thumbs up and Ju reveals that there's someone she likes, leaving Juntang wondering who her crush might be. Ju's performing and the crowd is lit. Meanwhile, Shia's low-key flirting with Juntang, whispering sweet tea in his ear. As Ju continues to shine, Juntang can't help but think about how he's been drawn to Shia all along. He decides it's time to stop playing games and face his feelings. The next day, Juntang shows up at Shia's doorstep, concerned that she's been holed up in her room according to Ruoni. He knocks, but when she doesn't answer, he turns to leave. That's when her door creaks open and she yanks him inside. Ruoni pops out, mentioning that she's prepared some porridge for Shia, then settles into the lounge to watch TV. Back in the room, Shia pins Juntang against the door, her eyes locked on his. He asks if she's hungry, but she shakes her head. When he asks what she's craving, she gives him a sly smile, saying she wants to devour him. They start making out, and Juntang tries to break free, saying he needs to go, but Shia refuses to let him leave, insisting he wait in the room for a bit. They continue kissing and Juntang backs her up to the bed where she plops down. He sits beside her, thinking it's time to make things official and ditch the shyness. As he gazes at her, he realizes the tension has vanished and he's the only one getting butterflies. Her creepy vibe has him mesmerized, like a weird anime girl.